Hi, welcome. I'm Christine, and you're listening to a chat about success on the spectrum. And today we're going to be talking about why some of the symptoms on the autism spectrum might seem contradictory or confusing. They might seem confusing to you. They most certainly may appear confusing to the people around you. So we're going to just shed some light on that. And also it's a way to learn that there's no one presentation of the autism spectrum, and it's different in every person. No one person's experience is the same. So it can help us all have better understanding and awareness of other people's experiences, and also feel like, hey, all right, that can be a symptom of the spectrum that I have, but someone else does not have, but it doesn't mean you're also both not on the spectrum. So in just a second, we're going to go over some of those signs and symptoms. I'm Dr. Christine. I'm a retired chiropractor. I have ADD and I'm on the autism spectrum. And now I spend my time today creating content like this to help bring awareness about the autism spectrum, and also for people like you and me to live our best lives and have success on the spectrum. I specialize in health and wellness, and I also teach a lot of techniques here that are geared toward and scientifically shown to help minimize the uncomfortable symptoms that can come along with being on the spectrum. So you're in the right place. Please, before you go, take the time now to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell so you'll get notified when a new video drops or when I go live. And when you subscribe to a YouTube channel, it's like supporting a small business. It allows me to create more videos, get more information out to people, and it doesn't cost you any money. So win-win for everybody. All right, thanks for being here. So what are some of these contradictory signs and symptoms that maybe don't make sense to you or make sense to the people around you? Here's how it can show up in me. I can be having a good time, enjoying the company of others. Maybe it's some sort of a dinner party, and all of a sudden be hit with this, like what I call a need to escape. Like I've been participating in the conversation, I've been eating my meal, and then I just reach a point where the competing conversations, the fullness of the food, maybe there's music in the background, a lot of visual stimulation with people around a table. My brain just says, all right, I've had enough, a timer goes off, and that's when I will get up. I'll excuse myself to get up to go to use the bathroom, even if I don't even really need to use it. Or maybe I'll go into the kitchen to start tidying up. I need to get up and move my body when that starts to happen, so I can be having a very good time, and then also at the same time feel like I gotta get out of here. Okay, so very two competing sensations or feelings. Another is the tendency to lose focus, even in something that I'm really engaged in and enjoying. Now I have ADD and ASD, so possibly some of these are symptoms of ADD, others are symptoms of ASD. But even when I'm fully engaged, like I remember in school being in a class that I really truly enjoyed it, and I liked the instructor quite a bit, and just not being able to keep my focus because the sweater I was wearing made my armpits feel weird. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. It must have been a little too tight in the underarms, and I could not get that sensation out of my mind. So while I'm trying to listen to the teacher, my brain is like, sweater, sweater, sweater. So there's this contraindication of even in things that I love, I can be pulled away by other sensations. It could be a flickering light or some odd noise going on, or a smell. Like I could be enjoying a theater experience and there's somebody nearby that has perfume or cologne that's so strong that I taste it in my mouth. It's very difficult for me to then keep my focus on the performance, no matter how much I want to and no matter how fun it has the potential to be. Also, going back to the school experience, I heard someone, a fellow YouTuber, and I'll tag him in the description, I heard him describe it this way. You most likely either excelled in school and got really good grades while doing half the amount of work as your peers, or you struggled in school, got poor grades in spite of doing twice the work of your peers. And these are common scenario for people on the spectrum and with ADHD, ADD. And it's a contradiction, and it manifests differently in each person. Now, I know myself, if I enjoyed the topic, and especially in college when you can sign up for the courses you want to, excellent grades, almost no effort. If it was a topic that I was not interested in and forced to take it, very poor grades because I put in zero effort. So that's how it showed up in me. I just recently posted another article about why people on the autism spectrum tend to feel pain more intensely. But pain can be a contradictory thing in my presentation of the autism spectrum. It can be either underwhelming or overwhelming. So things that are considered extremely painful, like childbirth or migraine headache, I have had childbirth with zero pain medication intervention whatsoever, and I've had more migraine headaches over a lifetime than I can count, both what could be considered very unpleasant, painful experiences, and they were painful, but for some reason I was just able to sit beside the pain calmly. But a nuisance sensation I can't get it off of my mind, like a scratchy tag, or if I've accidentally like scraped my gum with my toothbrush or bumped my elbow when I'm walking through a doorway. Those things seem to give me much more pain than they should. And I can't make sense out of it. And maybe one day I'll have an answer for that. Right now I don't. But this contradiction of ability to sit calmly with some things that are very painful, but be extremely bothered by other things that probably shouldn't be that painful. That's how it is for me. Maybe you can relate. If you can relate, leave a comment. I would love to hear your experience as well. Let's talk about food and some contradictory symptoms that I have with food. I don't like mushy textures. A good example is the hardest thing for me to swallow is applesauce. I have to really force it down, and it doesn't go down. It gets stuck here, and then it gets stuck here, and then it gets stuck here. And I also don't like thick, mushy textures in my mouth, like maybe like mashed potatoes, things like that. I love crunchy foods. I take small bites of foods. I love spicy food. A lot of times on the autism spectrum, it's believed that we can be overwhelmed, or the nervous system overwhelmed by sensations that our environment outside our bodies and inside our bodies are giving us. And I don't mean overwhelmed like mentally weak and can't handle it. I mean how the nervous system is taking in the signals from the periphery to bring it to the brain, to process it, to know what to do with the information, to send the messages back out. That system can become overtaxed, overwhelmed. And in spite of that, people on the spectrum will often seek things that are very stimulating, like spicy food, like food with a very flavorful food, or could be the opposite. I know a lot of people on the spectrum are extreme picky eaters to the point that can even become nutritionally detrimental. Another contradiction. And again, this concept about seeking stimulation. This is where stimming comes from. Stimming is really any activity that is self-soothing. So it's something that you do yourself. You may stroke your hair. You may stroke your skin. You may crack your knuckles or play with your fingers, or same with your toes. You may roll your ankles. You may hum. You may sing a song in your head nonstop. You may count things. You may tap. Sometimes I tap my fingers. I often tap my fingers when I'm walking. You may rock. I rock sometimes when I'm reading. You may repeat phrases. The list is on and on. Hold things in your hands. But these stimming behaviors are soothing. They calm us down even though it's stimulating. So I don't have all the answers, and I'm continuing to learn, and I don't think that science has all the answers. So while there's a brain that's easily overstimulated by the messages coming in from the environment, it's also a brain that seems to be calmed down by intentional stimulation. And that's why stimming, you're controlling it yourself. You may be kind of doing it without being aware of it, but if it started to feel like it's too much, you would stop doing it. Another contradiction that shows up in me, and maybe this is a battle between ADD and ASD, but I call it ordered chaos. So I have a very difficult time keeping a neat and tidy house. It's clean, it's not dirty, but there's always this pile of laundry that is waiting to be folded, a stack of mail that's needing to be addressed, half of the groceries that I didn't get to put away yet, walk in the door with some packages, set them on the floor, and it might take me days to get back to them to put them where they're supposed to go. So there's a lot of clutter, and at the same time, the instant I walk in a room, if a picture or a mirror or a painting is hanging crooked on the wall, I see it and I fix it. And this to me makes me laugh because, again, it's such a contradiction. You know, the crookedness of the thing really will irritate me, and I guess I just see past the pile of laundry until it becomes like almost like meltdown phase. Like it's very distressing to the nervous system to live in a cluttered environment. So then I see it and I got to get it fixed and I got to clean it up, and it's only a matter of time before it gets cluttered again. I'm learning. Any tips? Leave them in the comment section for me, please. Okay, controlled risk taking. So in some areas of my life, I'm quite cautious. In other areas of my life, I just throw myself out there, and people will often say, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you did that." I guess it depends on control of the exciting or risk that I'm taking. And I do very poorly if I don't have a sense of control. I have really struggled to be a passenger in a car. I don't go on carnival rides. But other things, like I love to take a jet ski out fast if I'm driving it. So controlled risk. I get, there is a thrill, and there is when the body, when you're doing something like mountain climbing or a difficult hike, or I like to water ski and windsurf, when you're doing these high intensity activities that require a great deal of focus, doesn't it take your thinking out of your head? It's almost like a mindfulness exercise. So the chatter in your mind slows down because you're so solely focused on that one thing. So I think that is why certain types of risk taking can be very calming to the overexcited nervous system. And lastly, gaps in the skill set. So it's very common for people on the spectrum to excel in a few areas and then struggle in a few areas. And again, it can be very contradictory. I made a video earlier, and I'll link to it, but a video about proprioception. Proprioception is your body's ability to understand where it is in space and time. It's how you can reach for something without looking at it. It's how you know how high to lift your foot when you walk over a curb. Well, I don't have great proprioception, which means I bump into things a lot, but I have excellent balance. And they're not the same, but in a way they're sort of similar because I have very good fine motor control of my body, and it's how I can do sports and activities that require a great deal of balance and balance while you're shifting and moving. But my proprioception isn't good, so that doesn't make any sense. Someone might excel in math, be horrible at reading. Somebody might be able to read the words just fine, not be good at interpreting them or retaining what the written word means. Somebody might be really good at remembering dates, but very bad at facial recognition for recognizing and remembering names of people. So again, it's contradictory, it's broad and wide. Not every person experiences every symptom, and this is why sometimes the autism spectrum can be very difficult to diagnose, particularly in women who become quite good over time at masking or covering up their behaviors, as well as stereotypes. because I think of all these contradictions, and because somebody on the spectrum can be very verbal or not verbal at all, or very resistant to pain or highly sensitive to pain. You know, that's why it's a little bit difficult to diagnose. And I think we have to be careful, because even being on the spectrum myself, I don't experience every single symptom of being on the spectrum. And when I interact with somebody else who's on the spectrum and they're exhibiting symptoms that I don't have, I have to remind myself these are symptoms of this person being on the spectrum, and be understanding of that, have awareness of that, and understanding and compassion and patience. So perhaps that's the goal of this video, that we all learn that the spectrum is wide, and we need to have understanding and awareness, and we need to accept people where they are. It doesn't mean that we don't continue to learn and to grow and to dull our sharp edges and grow our weaknesses. But at the same time, we need to have acceptance, self-acceptance and self-compassion, as well as acceptance and compassion for others, because we're all doing the best we can with the resources that we have. Again, thank you for being here. Before you go, please subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. Please like this video and share it with somebody that you think can benefit from it. All right, my friends, we'll talk soon.